we're going to talk about migrations and how we do migrations where we're trying to get more data, right? Um, how many of you guys are doing migrations or about to do migrations? Anybody? Awesome. Good. So migrations are a big thing, right? It's something that you really have to prepare for. Um, or is it like something your business just does every day, right? It's a big deal. So when you're doing things that are a big deal, the more data you can get, the better off you are. So you're always looking to grab as much data as you possibly can when you're trying to make some of the key decisions as you're making your migration happen. So I'm going to talk quickly about uh, kind of our approach at Cloudreach and how we make these things happen. And I'm going to talk to you about how we leverage New Relic and another piece of software together to really put together a plan that really helps us really get deep with the KPIs that are really going to speed up our migration process and let us get there with assurance, right? Like kind of de-risking the scenario so that we really feel like when we get there, we know that we're there and that everything there is solid. So we have this program mentality, right? So we're going to build out this program and put together a solid methodology. We're going to bring some software to the solution so that we're, like I said, pulling that data in and really driving a better outcome at the end of the day. We have some partners we work with, um, like New Relic, and there's a people aspect to this, right? It's really ultimately the people aspect in a migration like this, especially moving to cloud, is more than just turning the wheels and making this thing happen, but there's a cultural aspect to it as well. So we start with the strong methodology. If you see this, we're looking at assess and discover, and that's really what we're mostly focused on in this talk today. And then into the plan and prepare phase. So the assess and discover phase, what we're talking about now, helps us in that plan and discover or plan and prepare phase. In that plan and prepare phase, we then are able to, with all this data, we're able to put together a better plan and move forward. Assess, plan, migrate, deploy, manage, right? Everything that we do, we have to manage it on the other side. So we assess and we plan, we do the actual migration, we build deployment mechanisms in that help us manage it better in the future. So one of the interesting things about migrations that have changed over the last few years, think about like 5 years ago, we oftentimes just thought about this as a server thing, right? How many servers do we have and how are we getting them there? And that was the biggest part of the plan. Let's break down what those servers are, group them together, make the migration, build out migration groups and get them out there as quickly as we can. Now it's a completely different world. Yes, we do that some, but ultimately this is really about applications. You're not moving servers, you're moving applications. That's what matters to the business. So the more application data I can get, the better off I am. That's where I really drive my value proposition back to my business. So when I'm assessing, I need as much application data as I can because I'm going to make a number of different types of decisions. It's not just let's pick it up and put it into the cloud. We're going to make some decisions about, yes, these are some workloads I'm going to pick up and move to the cloud. Here are some other workloads that I'm actually going to migrate a little bit differently. I might be moving those to Kubernetes, for instance, and making some changes there. And then there may be even other applications that I look at and say, the right thing to do here is to really go completely cloud native when I make the move. All of that requires more data about the application so that I can make the right decisions going forward in that whole process. Which ones that I take that time to do with, how much time is it going to take me to do those? So we're looking at these 4 phases. Let me back up here right quick. I thought I could back up here right quick. There we go. So introducing Cloudemize to the situation, um, we've at reInvent this year announced an integration with Cloudemize with New Relic. So at Cloudreach, we work with Cloudemize. We actually own Cloudemize. They're right over there. You can go see them. Um, Really cool software that gives us a really good view of not only what it's going, what is there that needs to be migrated, splitting that down and giving us a real good view of everything that's connecting there, but also being able to do some price comparison and understanding how much is it going to cost when I get there. Uh, with the integration, now we get even more application data. So not only do I get the application data about, what is the application itself, but what does that application touch? So those other things that application touch, and then that gives me a lot more data about how I need to do this migration. Um, that move group information becomes very different at that point. I might actually be connecting to a database that I didn't know about. So then once I get up there, what happens when I'm having to drag a database connection back over on-prem, right? So my plan is more complete as a result of having this application data. So with the integration, we're able to pull all that together and really provide a total view of what my migration needs to look like. Um, so all of that pulled together really equates to a better, faster, more reliable migration. Now I want to talk real quickly about the quality aspect of that. The very first migration I ever participated in, we did this. We had New Relic in place on-prem. We had all of the data about our applications. When we make the move, we got there, with New Relic in place, we were already ready to take on operations in the same way we were doing already at an application level, but we were also able to very quickly make our product people feel really comfortable with the situation. Because they looked at it and realized, hey, I can show you metrics that show you that not only is our application in the cloud now and more scalable, but it's actually performing better than it did when we were on-prem. Our database connections, our database trip time for a query is more complete and faster than it was before. My page load times were that much faster, and I was able to actually show my business very quickly the direct value that the cloud move made before we even were in production. So the day that we were cutting over, the business felt really comfortable because they knew without a doubt that everything was going to be performing actually better than it did when we were on-prem. So that's it. Any questions that I can answer at this point? Anything? Cool, thank you.